I don't know who you are, but I know that you're Jews who are looking for Kodesh Baruch Hu and looking for His chaskas, just like me. And when we do it with each other, when we try it together, it's a big thing. So you've been singing now almost 2 months, V'nahafer, 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 for 2 months. I think sometimes if I hear that song again, I'm going to go out of my kalim. But what's V'nahafer? What does that mean, V'nahafer? So I was talking to the Chevi here last week about this a little bit. When we were kids, there used to be these coloring books that we had, and you would see like the image of a boy, a little boy, and we used to take out the Crayola box. We had that back then too, and we used to color in I used to color in the little boy's face, and it was a special like magic coloring book that when you turned it upside down, when you turned the coloring book upside down, it was a picture like of a little girl, or a picture of a giraffe or something. I don't know. It was like a totally different picture, and I thought that was mamish magic. Now that I'm older, I know that it's not magic. I know that it's the work of Mordechai. It's the work of the tzaddik. It's the work that each one of us has to try to do in life. You see, that other picture was there all the time. I was just so completely focused and obsessed with the picture that was obvious to me that I couldn't see that other picture until I did it in a half until I turned it around. So Esther Malka was this sweet, like real, refined Bas Yisrael, and the tzaddik told her in Acharesh Tacharishi that the tzaddik said, you know, you need to save the entire Jewish people. You're the only person that could do this. And she all of a sudden received these different eyes from the tzaddik, to see koiches that she didn't know that she had. That this woman all of a sudden was able to do something that was still talking about it so many years later, and was still living from that. What Esther Malka did. He didn't change anything. He just helped her see it differently, a different perspective. You know, Shaul HaMelech, where does Haman come from? Because Shaul HaMelech didn't finish off Agag. So from that came out, as you know, Haman, because he lived Agag another night and whatever. So there's a Haman that came from that. And when Shmuel Nevi came to him, and Shaul HaMelech starts to explain, like, why, I couldn't, I didn't, and I was listening to the people, I was afraid. So Shmuel said to him, Im katon ata beinecha, you might be small in your own eyes. In your own eyes. But in my eyes, Reish Shivtei Yisrael Ata, and I'm asking you to try to turn the page upside down. Do v'nahafachu. Look through the eyes of Einei Hashem al Tzaddik. Look at the eyes of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. It says Nosen by Einav. Use the eyes of the Tzaddik. Borrow those eyes and try to see that there's another picture that you haven't been looking at because you've been so completely obsessed with that picture that could be that parents painted, or some teacher painted, or some friend painted, but it's not your painting. And if you do the V'nahafachu, it's mamish, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what you'll find if you do the V'nahafachu. Now I'll tell you just a quick V'nahafachu story, but there's a Mardik story about a tzaddik, Reb Gadol Eisner. He was a big ger chassid, a big tzaddik, that he survived the war. He was in so many different concentration camps. And at the end of his life, he said over how he survived, and he told how he was in some camp and the war was ending. It was winding down, and all of a sudden the Germans came into their bunk and started screaming, yelling at the Jews to get up, get up. They were going to transfer them to some other place because the Americans were coming, and they had to get out. So the Germans didn't want to miss the opportunity of killing more Jews, so they were going to take them somewhere else. And there was this march that they had to do. It actually turned out to be 14 kilometers. There were like 1,500 guys. Only 30, 40 of them survived, and Rabbi Gadol was one of them. And Rabbi Gadol said the following. He said the Germans wanted to have fun with us, so they didn't just tell us to walk, even though we were skeletons. We couldn't barely move. They commanded us to start running, and anybody that slowed down would be shot immediately. And he said that we started, but every second, boom, 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 people are getting shot, people are getting trampled. And he said, I realized that I'm done. I can't go on. I was going to go back to my parents, my grandparents. I was done. And I was beginning to slow down. And all of a sudden, like a couple rows back, somebody screamed out, "Life, good life, run, good, run!" And he said, I don't know what happened, but that person just somehow turned things the other way for me. And I was one of those chevra that made it to the end, and I survived the war. And I learned from there how another person can help you turn things around, could bring you to that v'nahafachu, even if you can't yourself. I learned that a friend can do that for someone else. When you think that you're finished and someone else sees that you're not, and that you can and can turn it around. Haman said they were all finished. Every single Jew was going to get killed. V'nahafachu. We began to look at things differently. We began to see through the eyes of Mordechai, Tehillim, Torah, the children, Tanis, Avodah. And we were able to see what was always there. Nothing changed. There were no Nisim. Nothing changed in Shushan. It just everything turned around to the way that it was supposed to be, but we didn't see. We should be Zaychim as Hashem for a big v'nahafachu, each and every one of us, to see the real picture of who we are, not who we are, but who we can become. And with that, all of us should be able to be freilich together, not over machines, but to be freilich together. Yerushalayim habnu the Glashav Amitis. Amen.